less stress. The second person has a luxury apartment, expensive habits, monthly pressure, and constant anxiety about maintaining a lifestyle that now controls them. And this happens more often than people realize. Because money problems rarely begin with stupidity. They begin with emotion, with pressure, with comparison, with invisible expectations people absorb from the world around them. A lot of people think wealth is about intelligence. But real life doesn't work that way. Some of the smartest people in the world still destroy themselves financially. Professional athletes, celebrities, entrepreneurs, doctors, investors. Not because they lacked money. Because they misunderstood what money was supposed to do for them. Most people see money as a tool for upgrading life. A bigger apartment, a newer car, better vacations, better restaurants, better clothes. And at first, that feels rewarding. You work hard, you finally earn more. Naturally, you want your life to reflect it. That feels reasonable. But slowly, without noticing, your lifestyle starts growing faster than your sense of security. And this creates a psychological shift most people never see happening. At first, expensive things feel exciting. Then they become normal. Then they become necessary. That's the cycle. The human brain adapts incredibly fast. The thing you once dreamed about eventually becomes your baseline. And once something becomes your baseline, losing it feels painful. This is why people making six figures can still feel financially trapped. Because their income increased, but their psychological standard increased too. Now they don't just want comfort. They feel entitled to it. And the moment life becomes expensive to maintain, freedom quietly disappears. This is where modern culture makes everything worse. Because today, success is constantly visible. You don't just live your life anymore. You display it. People document apartments, vacations, morning routines, luxury purchases, aesthetic lifestyles, and even when nobody says it directly, the message becomes clear. If your life doesn't look successful, maybe you're falling behind. That pressure changes behavior more than people realize. A person may understand investing logically, but emotionally still crave status, validation, and social approval. That contradiction exists everywhere now. People talk about financial freedom while financing lifestyles they cannot comfortably sustain. People discuss discipline while spending impulsively to manage stress. People say they value long-term growth while emotionally prioritizing short-term relief. And honestly, it makes sense. Modern life is exhausting. People are stressed, burned out, mentally overloaded. So spending becomes emotional recovery. A hard week turns into online shopping. Stress turns into food delivery. Loneliness turns into lifestyle consumption. People are not always buying things because they need them. Sometimes, they're buying emotional relief. That's why personal finance advice often fails. Because money is not just math, it's psychology. You can give two people the exact same financial strategy, and one will follow it calmly, while the other self-destructs emotionally the moment life becomes uncertain. Because behavior matters more than information. A person can understand investing perfectly and still panic during a market crash. A person can know saving matters and still overspend because stress temporarily overrides logic. Humans are emotional before they are rational. Always. And the people who quietly build wealth understand something most others miss. Wealth is not performance. It's flexibility. It's the ability to breathe, to walk away from toxic situations, to survive difficult periods without collapsing emotionally, to make decisions from stability instead of desperation. That kind of freedom usually looks boring from the outside. No constant flexing, no endless upgrades, no obsession with appearing successful, just quiet consistency. And ironically, those people often look less wealthy than the people struggling the most. Because real wealth is usually invisible. Nobody sees the debt avoided, the emergency savings, the investments growing quietly, the self-control, the patience, the decisions that never became purchases. People only see visible spending. That's why society often confuses appearance with security. But they are completely different things. One creates attention, the other creates peace. And eventually, everyone has to choose which one matters more. Because, at the end of the day, money is not really about luxury. It's about reducing fear. Fear of instability, fear of dependence, fear of losing control over your own life. The people who understand this stop asking, "How can I look successful?" and start asking, "How can I build a life that feels stable even when nobody is watching?" That question changes everything. Because once money becomes a tool for freedom instead of performance, your decisions start changing naturally. You become less reactive, less impulsive, less desperate for external validation, and more focused on protecting your future self. That's when financial maturity actually begins, not when income increases, but when identity stops depending on appearances. So maybe the real goal isn't becoming rich. Maybe the real goal is becoming harder to control, harder to pressure, harder to manipulate, harder to trap. Because true financial freedom is not about impressing people. It's about finally being able to breathe. And most people don't realize that until they spend years chasing things that never actually gave them peace.